When you're designing for laser cutting, there are three very important concepts. They're pretty easy to keep track of, so I don't think you'll have any problem with it. But I want to emphasize that these are very important. They make the difference between a project working and a project just not working. So you have to keep them straight, okay? They are stroke, color, and fill. To show you what I mean, I'm going to start with a shape. Here is a nice looking rectangle, and by fill, I mean the color that goes inside the shape. That's this nice orange. If I hover over this box here, you'll see that a small window pops up that says fill. So that's what I want to work on right now. And I can change the color in a number of ways, but this is the one I find easiest when I'm doing laser cutting. I double click on here and it opens the color picker. Now, there's a lot of information here, but the ones that we need to concern ourselves with are these R, G, and B. R stands for red, green, and blue. I want to fill this with blue, which means I want 0 red, and I want 0 green, and I want maximum blue, which is 255. I don't know why it's not 100 for 100%, but it isn't. It's 255. And if I click on that, I'll get the right shade of blue that our laser printer will recognize, and it will engrave this whole area because I labeled it blue. Now the other concept is stroke. If I go over here and hover over it for a sec, you see the word stroke pop up. That's the outside line, that's the boundary of this shape. Click on it once and it makes it active. If I double click on it, I can get a color. Now you'll notice that I have the color black in here already, but if I look at the RGB, it's not black. It's got 10 value of red, it's got 12 value of green, and it's got 16 value of blue. If I tried to print this with our laser cutter wouldn't accept it. It would say, I can't, I won't. I simply will not read that because it's not the right shade of black. So to make black, you have the absence of color. So you have 0 red, 0 green, and 0 blue. And that's the right shade of black. If you wanted to, you could put in the hex code here, which is 6 zeros. But that gives you the right shade of black. So if I were to send this now to the laser printer, it would understand that, okay, black gets engraved slightly, blue gets engraved a little bit less than that. Okay? And then the third color you need to know is red, because red tells the printer to cut. I don't want anything to fill this shape. So what I do instead is I make sure it's active and I click on this, the white square with the red stripe through it, and that gives me a no fill in it, and my stroke on the outside is black. I don't want black because I want it to cut, which means I need to put red in there. So 255 is the maximum number I can put in there, so I have maximum red, 0 green, and 0 blue. Okay? Now, if I were to send this to the laser printer, it would understand that I'm telling it to cut out a box this size and then engrave, which means use a lower power laser to make a mark that's that rectangle shape on the wood or plastic that I'm cutting. However, there's one more step I have to do, because the laser cutter will not recognize a line that is that thick. It will not recognize a stroke that is that thick. It will only recognize one width of a stroke, or one stroke weight, and that's 0.1. So I click on the line here on the stroke, and I go up here and I type in 0.1. And it's almost invisible, but it's enough that the laser will look at that and go, oh, okay, you want me to use full power laser to cut out this rectangle. That's fine, I will do that. That's also true for this rectangle. In the rectangle, you'll notice that I've got a black stroke on the outside and blue on the inside. There's not that big a difference between these two colors as far as how deep the laser cuts. I don't even know if looking at it you can tell that black will be a little bit deeper or black will be less deep. So usually it's best just to ignore it. So what I do instead of putting black there is I don't have any stroke at all, and I put no stroke.